and welcome to Critical Tumble, where a bunch of longtime friends and internet nerds transcend geography and other technical things through the power of Discord to play Dungeons and Dragons, and critically fumble surprisingly less of the time than you generally think. Thankfully, given that there was the whole ancient white dragon and the two-stage fight against said ancient white dragon, which involved a terrible lot of having to be careful where you stepped because black sludge everywhere in the hole.
Hole full of blasphemy.
Yes, can I finish the previously? That is DM job. Thank you. We are glad to have you here, however interesting the camera angle is.
Please tell me if it's getting weird.
No. It's not. We understand. You're here. That's good. Okay, it's fine. I am allowed to tease you. You are like my little brother. I'm very much allowed to tease you. In fact, I'm contractually obliged to tease you.
That you are.
Anyway, yes, they had a minute to try and think about how the fuck they were going to get rid of all this crap. Okay, now you're sideways.
What the hell?
That's better.
I didn't want it to do that, but it did it anyway.
Anyway, one bit of divine intervention couldn't do anything, but four deity-involved individuals all asking, is there anything we can do about this, did lead to the information that there's some device thing, not really sure, but it's this kind of magical music box containment unit thing that's somewhere up there. Hey, it was the two bards that figured that out, and how perfect is that, all things considered. Of course, they don't really know how they don't know where it is, except up there in the ruins of the Grazian Inn somewhere. They don't know how it works, but at the very least, they're going to find it and see what they can do. That's after they take a few minutes to just kind of breathe a little bit. And of course, then there's the other thing, because Alice is kind of going gestures over at where very bewildered Moose is kind of looking at the hole like, where did you go? Oh, well, there you are, but what the fuck is going on? What are we going to do about him?
It's a good question.
I mean, shouldn't we bring him as far as we can?
Looks up at not moose, not goat.
We have to find a place for him to situate? I don't know.
Problem is I don't want to leave him somewhere where something weird is going to happen with the black shit. Do you want tainted dire moose?
No.
No.
Oh, no.
None of us.
On multiple levels, no.
Would teleporting him to Hearthstone be an option?
If we could find a door big enough, but...
I mean...
Well, I mean, actual teleport, yeah, that works too, if we can.
But none of us can do that kind of teleportation. They don't have a working teleportation circle yet.
Right.
Apparently, Twilly's working on it, but she's got to...
Yes, that's right.
She got to keep teleporting through it for a year.
It takes time, yeah. A year, wow.
Yeah, once a day for a year. Apparently, she's sort of bouncing to her family in Egriff is seeing more of her than they have in years.
Well, that's a good side of it.
Oh, it's kind of like a constant. It's kind of like a consecration for temples. You have to just keep recasting and recasting and recasting, and if the recast eats you somewhere, then it eats you somewhere.
Yeah, you kind of just till the energy kind of lingers.
Yeah, and then we'll be able to teleportation circle directly to Hearthome. Problem is, I'm not entirely sure Legolas fits in a teleportation circle anyway.
He is quite large.
He is absolutely massive.
I mean, maybe him on his own, maybe, but him with
Us, yeah, no.
yeah, with all of us. I always have to be really kind of keep the wings tucked in. I'm sure that those of you with tails probably have it wound around an ankle or something. I've never really looked.
Kind of like a belt, sometimes.
That's fair. I don't know if that works for Dragonborn. It's a bit. No, I didn't think so, but I shouldn't assume. I know that some people can be incredibly bendy, so why not Dragonborn? I don't know.
Is there a door big enough on
well,
what's left of Gray's Inn?
we don't know. I mean, I'm not seeing one from here, but they
have to do some searching to see if there is one. That's our plan.
They trashed through most of. I mean, the front door might have been, but gestures to the entire front face of it being mostly rubble.
Kind of did to it what I kind of did to the building. What I did to that one ghast with my hammer.
No, you didn't shear the ghast in half. That's kind of what happened.
Yeah, but either way, they hit it so hard it kind of went everywhere.
I mean, I wasn't there for that, so I couldn't say, but as I understood, it was the attempt of, you put it, from standing to pancake.
I tried to flatten it. There was just more goo in there than anyone was ready for.
Does anyone have polymorph?
You mean turn legs into something else, like they turned Dervin into a bunny?
Yeah, if we make him something small, we could get him through the door in the where we.
The only reason we got there as fast as we did, we got from there to here as fast as we did because we had legs. I mean, we'd have to go there, change him, stick him through the door, and then walk back.
Mm-hmm.
There's no door here that would be usable, is there?
Well, we'd have to search further in because anything up at the front there is
And it only lasts but so long anyway.
an hour.
Well, we wouldn't need it to last ages, just the time for him to get.
Yeah, but would we like an hour? I don't think. With our luck, it's not going to be enough time to find us.
I mean, it would only be turn him at the last minute just before we send him.
Yeah, that was kind of the basic thing, but
Well,
we don't.
yeah, I guess. Okay. I see.
The big question is, can anyone do that? Because I can't.
I can't.
Nope. I thought about trying to figure it out myself, but no.
Oh well. Worth keeping in mind for the future, though.
Then Flitty is sort of. I'm not really old enough to do that yet. Draconic. Draconic. Unless I'm saying he said it in Sylvan, he defaults to Draconic because dragon.
They give him squidges. You'll get there.
Yeah, that's a thing. I don't know what happens when because I went back to green. So do I just go to indigo after this? Or do I just stick at green forever?
We'll find out.
But don't tell the Alice lady. She's just gonna feel bad. I need new dice because these just aren't fucking fair. But she looks at you guys. I don't want to know. You clearly don't want to tell me, so I don't want to know.
Right, well.
And then just kind of leans on Legolas, going, "Really wish I could lend you my wings for a while. Although I don't know how well."
That would be helpful.
I mean, to be fair, even if the floors up there weren't all that stable, then what?
That kind of gave me a bit of an idea. I mean, we find as safe a place as we can for Legs to be while we're up there, and maybe Flitty could keep him company and at least come find us in some fashion if something happens. That's something. I'm just.
I suggested that earlier.
You did?
You suggested finding him a safe place. You didn't suggest the tiniest babysitter.
Plus, I'm worried he would take the cold too well. I mean, he's already...
I've got my bundlies, but I'm a little bit worried because I don't think I could help very much if some part of the floor went crunch and he went into the gunk.
That is also...
Yeah. Fair. Sorry.
Yeah, we just want to avoid moose plus goo at all costs.
No, I
How far up is it? The thing that we need to get up?
Well, I mean, there are several floors, like 10, I think.
Mm.
There was a lot of inn, because this wasn't just an inn. It was also a government
fortress, basically.
Well, government building, clandestine kind of international trade deal kind of thing. And all the information that the people from this particular barony picked up. I keep thinking to call them provinces. You can tell I'm an Equitas girl. That everybody in this barony, the people in this barony who collected information, they brought it here, and that's how it got to other places. So there's a lot of building.
Yep. Probably the largest building next to Black Crown or any of the bigger baronies.
I have a feeling that Black Crown might not even be bigger, because if it's anything like what they did in Egreth, they just carved a whole miniature township into this rock.
So yeah, it's probably the largest building on this side of the continent.
So are we going to try... This is out of character. I'm trying to get a visual. So we're trying to get up through the building or up over the building?
You can't get over the building because the building is in the cliff.
Okay.
So the cliff is way too high to be getting over. But there's a good 10 levels worth of building carved into this rock.
Okay.
At least on the up, you don't know what's going on below, because you do know that there's some, there's some basement systems, and that was where the train came in from.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
At which point, Alice says, like, I have to try something, and if this works, well, life is going to get a lot more interesting. Rummages in her bag and removes the circlet. Come here, Legs. Let's see how much my celestial dad likes me. It does not need to be forever. It just needs to be for the day.
It is. This.
Watch this, Rylan.
Oh no.
Yeah, at which point, not overly dissimilar to the ones Alice wears.
Oh my god.
You probably heard them.
Carmen is cackling.
It's just it's not it doesn't have the same reaction to pain that Alice did. It's just it's just gesturing.
Behold, a flying moose.
Sorry, Legs.
Amazingly, Hazel, I actually have to correct you. A flying dire moose.
Remy gets very quietly. You married incredibly well. We will give the moose the day.
Yes, I did. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Looking over at Remy like, you get more conversation out of Celestial Dad than I do. It removes the circlet from one of the antler tines and just puts it back very carefully.
That it's only going to last a day, but that
Thank goodness. I don't know.
that's a good point. It's a very interesting day for him.
Singular experience.
This means you can come with, and gesturing as well as speaking, this means you can come with us, Legs. And very cheerfully, but woof! Yes, love you too, Legs. Don't want to leave you where you might fall into puddle of yick. No, that doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for any of the rest of them. Well, they love you, and they're also terrified of you. Looks very, very proud. In that kind of damn straight kind of way.
I love Legs.
In character and out of character. Hell yeah!
Point just sort of mounts up and reaches for Remy's wrist. Come on. How many people could say they rode a winged dire moose?
Not many.
It's very true,
Yoink.
I guess.
And just yoinks her head.
Fuck him.
Yeah, I mean, you guys wanna start climbing. I'll pick up anybody who needs it. Let's find some solid floor. Legs?
Yeah.
Remy holds on very securely.
Well, to be fair, the first thing Legs does is a big circle round the spot, just clearly enjoying the living hell out of this.
Oh dear, sweet Paylor.
Yeah, you see why I like them now, Legs. You're gonna stop giving me that look about the new appendages. And how about the rest of you? Who's gonna try doing a little bit of climbing?
Barnabas will go
Probably
first.
gonna be me.
Gonna walk over and just, well,
Here we go.
new experience.
Okay, you can have either athletics or acrobatics depending on what you're good at.
I'll take acrobatics.
Barnabas is at disadvantage because hooves are gonna be a problem.
Alrighty.
Moves on ice is not a good combo.
And Smeagol, I can roll for you if you want, if it makes life easier.
Yeah, I will give you a heads up when I can't actually reach the thing on my sheet, because I can bring it up, but it's very, very squished.
Yeah, so don't even bother trying. Just tell me, and I will roll a thing. Yeah, obviously Remy doesn't have to roll shit.
9.
First tumble, I think.
Oh Christ! Oh
Oh,
Christ!
Quite so bad there, Rylan.
And then there's Farron.
This is great.
Smeagol, so that you're aware, Ava 7, Darvin 9, Rylan natural 1, And Varydel, her athletics is only
3
1,
on the
so an actual 4.
Also, why I'm very glad that my athletics is kind of okay.
Uh,
Apparently, somehow,
got
Rylan is
well.
infinitely better than I am.
Okay, that's
Barnabas, yeah, okay, oh no.
Natural 1. What a way to start.
Yeah,
You know what?
but
fine.
this amuses me because the way I figure it is the best way we can deal with this is with natural 1 being the lowest. The lower you rolled, the quicker you fell. And
Perfect.
that's the number of people who will end up landing on top of you.
Oh no!
Yep. Figures.
Yeah, so basically, Rylan, woomph. Varydel on top of him, woomph. Ava on top of him, woomph. Darvin on top of the pile, woomph. And just as you think this is gonna be okay, 6.5 foot of Minotaur, woomph.
Oh god!
From the top rope, just demolishing the pile.
Yeah, okay, so this is gonna be a thing. This is gonna be really interesting in terms of how to calculate the falling damage. So let's see. For Barnabas, 4. For Darvin, 8.
oh no. Oh no.
For Ava, 14.
I'm so going to ask you how you stack this later.
Basically, it's 1d6, and then I add another d6, and then I add another d6, so I was at 14. Next is Varydel, so that was 14.
We still have an extra 7 hit points at the moment.
Yes.
Yeah, because the day hasn't lapsed.
Right.
14.
Sorry.
Varydel, 18. And Rylan, 21.
Cool. Perfect.
Sorry, I shouldn't have
This
answered
is
that.
fine.
Meanwhile, Clarity's got up to like about the 3rd floor, which is the first point that's not completely covered in debris, and just with Hazel kind of behind her, and just hears the yelps and thuds from below.
Just goes,
I am very comfortable with you in front of me, that you being climbing.
Yes. Yes, the views are always spectacular. We know, we understand. It's fine. Moving on. Alice, meanwhile, is looking down and going, I'm gonna have to ferry people up here, aren't I?
Yeah, you are. I mean, if you want to bring me back down, I can.
Nah,
Dimension door.
it's fine. Let's save that for potential floor crumbling.
Good point.
And then it's just sort of onto the nearest bit of solid-looking floor, or just kind of lets Remy off as you guys are getting to the top. Don't worry, I'll get them. Down. Just looking at the Legolas sets down, looks at the stack, but probably around about the Legolas height, given the number of people in it. And so, looking at Barnabas like, having fun?
Hey, Barnabas, can you move your elbow?
At which point, she sort of grabs Barnabas under the armpits and...
Thanks. Okay, and Darvin will try to...
You guys disentangle, I'll run the ferry service. You okay, Barnabas?
Only thing hurt was my pride.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of these bruises on your back. I'd say your pride and your kidneys around about where they bit on a veal where the tuning bits are.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you didn't break that poor man's viol.
I really do hope so as well.
Now we roll the hand of fate.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
Barnabas invested in a very good case for that thing. So, do you see Darvin, as soon as he rolls off, he's like, oh shit! Opens it, and it's just like, should I thank him for the Orobus present when he was the one who might have been the reason it broke? Probably.
I don't give. Hugs are going to ensue. Hugs are going to ensue. As soon as my heart starts beating again, there it goes.
Let's Barnabas off where Clarity, Remy, and Hazel are waiting. I'm going to go for the taller ones first. Excuse me. And like Les kind of coasts down. It just reaches for Farydel's arm. Grab. Yoink!
You see Rylan at the bottom of the pile, just like the cartoon stars in the eyes and birds around the head.
I hold out a hand to help them up. You okay?
Didn't hear that.
We've been better. A lot better.
It deposits Farideh back down. Now you can say you've ridden a winged dire moose. There's another new experience for you. Huzzah! Coast down, doesn't even give warning, just kind of leans sideways in the saddle, scoops up Darvin around the waist, and so he's just buckled his loot and is hugging it, and all of a sudden,
I look at them go up and I say, the Popham kids would be so jealous.
Mm-hmm.
And then deposits Darvin and coast down.
Immediately looks around for Barnabas, spots him, and just walks up and just goes, hug. He's got the loot in one arm and hug. It didn't break. 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 Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Oh.
Eventually disengages and puts it back.
Apparently, they sell very good loot cases in Agref. Then again, they sell very good everything in Agref. Terrifyingly. And honestly, LSA doesn't bother, like, waiting and trying to decide between you two skinny drinks of water. It's just kind of, Ava tucked under one arm, Rylan grabbed by the furs and draped over Legolas's back and then up. This is taking too long, you know?
Haters.
It is. Fair.
And it just kind of deposits them. Boom.
Thank you.
Well, it's supporting all of us, and I'm not feeling any weaknesses in the floor.
Yeah, that's good.
So, legs keep it is giving her this look like, okay. Just, wings are new to you. They were weird for me. Maybe you just go more by instinct than I do. That is the problem with recognized sapience. And Legolas, as gently as that amount of moose can, touches down. A very minor kind of, but nothing that feels like it's imminent breaking. It's more that floor creaking kind of, because there's a lot of stone between, but there's wood flooring. This was at one point apparently designed for comfort, and stone floor tends not to be overly comfortable.
Once everyone's up, I'm going to cast Mass Healing Word on the squished people.
Okay, so yeah, that's...
Would you kindly unsquish, and that's the word that's gonna trigger the magic just glowing out of me.
Okay. Yes,
Would you kindly
yeah,
do
Oh,
it?
you clicked on true seeing. So let me.
Yeah, I wasn't. I was trying to just scroll, and it clicked for
Yeah.
some reason
So
from
like
macros.
yeah, like I say, just let me. And this is base level.
Yeah, I was trying to look through my spells in order to come up with which one to use, and in the scrolling for that, it yorked.
That's fine. And then of course you've got additions. So, core. Healer. Well, what are your hit points looking like? No, you're good. Although technically, you're up to the full 92 you can have today. So we'll alter that because it's the blessed healer thing.
Yeah, and disciple. Yeah, and
Yeah,
along with disciple
that's
life.
what I'm looking for. First level, so that's yeah, so that's a total of 14 hit points that Ava, Darvin, Farida, Rylan, and Barnabas get back. I was just handling Hazel's first because I'm the one that can actually deal with the character sheet at this point. Sorry, I'm just. Is that Spider-Man holding your game controller?
Oh, good. Someone else noticed.
I mean, it's been there for ages.
Yeah, I commented on it last time, I think.
Yeah.
I had kind of other things to be focusing on the last time. There was a lot going on the last time,
It's true.
Actually, it was the time before that. Anyway.
and that was a month ago. So, that's right. There you are in what probably used to be, well, bedroom or some kind of room. You're not really sure. It depends on where there should have been wall up in that general direction, because given how far out of the rock it came, you have about 8 feet of floor and a door leading further inwards. It's about managing to hold up, despite the wall being a little bit cracked and chunks falling in places. But obviously it's fairly dark through there because everything else is... I mean, it was lit at one point, but candles are magic. They'd be out by now. But you've got sort of... No furniture remains in. It's probably all slid out and is somewhere in the rubble by this point. Unless somebody walked off with it for a hoard, you never know. But basically you have 8 feet by about 20 feet of floor that you're standing on. A little bit squishedly, particularly given that you have like 10 foot of Legolas.
By 10 almost.
Well, yeah, that's how much space he controls. But yeah, so it's a little bit of a squish, but nothing seems to be giving way.
Clarity door.
Sure. I'll go to the door and just sort of check it for anything weird.
Well, give me a perception check because you're checking for anything weird.
Yeah. 9.
Well, you don't see anything immediately, but then you kind of my camera's doing something stupid. Then you kind of lean and you give this little of annoyance that you can't see much more, and the door falls in.
I fixed it.
You did something
I'm
to
going
it.
to make my way over, give Clarity a smooch, and look in.
It appears to be a corridor.
Okay, we have a hallway.
So, what order do we want to be?
How dark is it in there?
Very. I mean, the light coming in from out there is the only light you're getting. And from the doorway and the couple of little broken bits of wall, that's about all the light you're getting. And there's a lot of corridor in either direction. Here's the big question. Do we all want to stay together? This is a big building.
That is fair.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hmm.
I'm not sure I like the idea of splitting up, though.
I agree.
I don't know what's in there.
no, we don't. But at the same time, we're going to
We
be...
don't have ages to waste either, yeah.
Well, we don't have ages to waste, and it's also kind of hard to fight in these kinds of quarters.
Any other points?
Well, if we bump into something, make a lot of noise and
Well, more than that,
tactical retreat.
if we go in separate groups, holds up
You
her
can
hand.
find each other, yeah.
It's also a good point.
And if we divide into groups of 3, which would probably be the sensible way of doing this, whoever I can pick someone in the third group, tell them exactly where we are via,
Message.
and if we have one person per group who can do Dimension Door, so you, me, Darvin, then if he is happening with me, you'll know how much noise I'm going to make. Plus, there's going to be a very angry winged moose.
And we should probably have whoever can use light split up as well. So that'd be you, Hazel, and me?
Me.
Alright.
I just can see. I only glow when I cast healing stuff.
Oh, I thought you could use light as well, my bad.
I don't have
Yep.
light, but I can make the dancing light orb things.
Well,
Yeah.
I technically can't either, it's my sword that can.
Well, that still means we've got 3 people who can cast it, or something that will light a space. Although, in all fairness, we could kind of reduce that a little bit by keeping the people who can't see in the dark, because there's not that many of you,
Yeah, that's true.
into one group. And honestly, that's 3. That's Darvin, Ava, Barnabas. Oh, no, of course, sorry, Faraday. You can't. I keep forgetting that you can. I keep forgetting Dragonborn can't.
It's weird.
Believe me, I didn't realize I could see in the dark either, so.
For what it's worth, I think Barnabas, Ava, and I actually makes a pretty good group.
I've got the
Just
light
outright.
and dimension door.
Yeah, and Barnabas is Barnabas.
I mean, Faraday, if you stick with me, I do give off a certain amount of ambient light anyway. Yeah, except the problem is Barnabas, Darvin, and Ava, you'd have to keep your sword lit.
Yeah, and that does last only an hour.
Yeah, any light spell only lasts an hour.
Right.
Did we? And that orb is still a thing that we have too.
The drift globe.
Don't we? Yeah, the drift.
All right.
The globe. The drift
We do
globe.
still have that, yeah.
If you,
I don't need that myself. I can give that.
we can't hear you, Ethan.
Is that something that we could make use of?
Well, yeah, you all know the command word.
yeah.
You were there when Faraday
Yeah.
reset it.
Right. Okay.
You guys forget the impressive things she did before she was grown.
out of character. I forgot whether or not that was a tune,
No,
but it still fits for Darwin to forget that.
Yeah, I mean, it's drift glodes don't have an attunement; they have a command word. So, yeah, if you
So
would,
that's
if you
sorted then, I think.
if you want to give the drift globe to that ungrateful motherfucker,
I'm sorry,
I'll-
Faraday. I thought I couldn't remember off the top of my head if it was command or if it was a tune or what. I'm sorry.
It's fine. Hands the drift globe over.
And as she does, he's like, I got the name right. Yes.
you did. So okay, that leaves
Conway is not this week. 2.
I think that Hazel and Clarity are probably going to want to stick together, and I'd be good to have with the relative newbies to the adventuring lark anyway. So, Clarity, and Hazel, me, Rylan, Faraday, Barnabas, Ava, Darvin.
That seems to work.
No
Yeah,
complaints?
that
No complaints. Cool.
sounds reasonable to me.
And of course, I'm bringing along Legs, which is a good thing because
3 other people right there.
looks at you like.
And that was meant in a good way. I'm sorry. I'm going to shut up now.
It gives this kind of nyum on your hair. Not actually biting any of it, but it's kind of soggy with moose spittle. Most of it, because that's a lot of snoot.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Most of his head is inside of the.
No, because it's very, very
It's-
delicate. Just nyum,
Yes.
nyum, nyum,
I'm like-
but still.
I have a moose lick. It's not a cow lick. It's a moose lick.
It's
At which point, Legs just does lick, and the hair just in your face. You know when you've just washed it and that one bit is in your face.
I deserve that.
congrats.
All right. I think it looks at Legolas. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know that makes it a lot less fun. Okay. You two groups decide which one of you is going left, which one of you is going right. I'm going to take these two, and we're going to find a way. Well, actually, do you guys want to go further up or down? Because if we go up, I just bundle you both onto Legs. If we want to go down, we'll leave them to find stairs, and we'll go up. Oh, hey, hello, Floof Weasel. Yeah, it's angled your camera. It's angled your camera a little bit. There you go.
Yes.
Yes. All hail, curious Floof Weasel. Yes. So yeah, we'll go like up a couple of floors and meet you guys kind of somewhere in the middle here, unless something horrific happens.
Find the stairs.
Did any of us get a sense of whether it was up or down? No, not really.
No.
Just in here somewhere.
Look, this wasn't even a real divine intervention. This was a hail whatever gods happen to be listening kind of a situation. So you're lucky to have got what you did.
I
Yeah,
guess.
we kind of took the divine intervention, the divination, and the augury, and we had
I guess the sensible thing was be for one group at least to go down. So we both.
Well, so you guys find stairs and go from there. We'll go up.
All right.
All right.
And kind of grabs Rylan again and boomf. Sorry.
The only elf I've ever met who just utterly fails at climbing.
They're having a really rough day, Hazel.
Climbing trees is different from climbing rubble.
Exactly.
And, honestly, just had to deal with an ancient white dragon. And this was your first, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
So let's cut the nervous a little slack, shall we?
Yep, you are now officially graduated to having fought a dragon. Congratulations.
It just pats him on the shoulder from behind him on Legolas. Don't think about it too hard until we're settled somewhere where you can get very, very drunk, okay?
Good idea. Good idea.
And then just sort of offers Farida an arm, and if given, pulls up behind.
Yep.
Okay, off we go.
Good luck.
Don't do anything stupid.
We'll try.
No promises!
Oh, get fucked.
I'll keep them out of trouble.
And
Good luck.
quietly, via sending, I will make them up to you later. Rylan probably just about hears that because it's murmured, but ear is very close.
Darwin just turns to Barnabas and Remy going, who's going which way?
Any other preference?
We're going left.
Then we'll go right.
Then we'll go right.
Well, we
Me?
flipped the Remy for it.
What?
Let's go.
I was about to
Let's go.
flip a coin, and Remy just made a snap choice like that. So we flipped Remy instead of a coin.
And I can see both Barnabas and Remy being very, very glad that Alice was not in earshot when she said that.
Darwin's just sort of to the right.
I'm gonna get all my mileage now, so that I can not say it when Alice gets back.
Good luck. Be safe.
Barnabas, my thought is we have send the drift globe up above as much as we can. My thought is you go first till we come to a door of some sort. I do still have my set of thieves' tools
All right.
on hand, so I can check for stuff.
And of course, then Darwin realizes the other really good, the other reason why it's really, really good that you divide it that way. 3 sets of thieves' tools down the line.
Yep.
The whole reason Alice joined these people, by the way, is partially because of you.
Yes.
Because I needed somebody to teach. The only reason she was there was to teach Darwin how to use thieves' tools. That was the only reason she was there.
And yet, we've love.
Oh, and funnily enough, you have her thieves' tools, and you have something Clarity hasn't seen yet. You have the every gadget.
That's
You
right.
need to show
You
that.
have an in-game multi-tool?
You need to show that to Clarity before you go your separate ways.
Yes. So as we're figuring this out, Darwin says, and I still have my thief tools, and I still have, and reaches into a pocket on the bag and rummages around. You hear click, click. Okay, I hit that. Yoink, pulls it out. Hey, Clarity, and just sort of pulls open like 3 different things.
It really is a combination of Swiss Army knife, multi-tool, and thieves' tools kind of set up.
And he pulls out like 3 wildly different things, like a small blade, just lockpick.
And a shovel, probably. Like,
It's a wider blade of sorts, yeah. Not exactly a full-on shovel, but it'll get the job done, and eventually.
if we wanted an actual entrenching tool, as the label said in Agraf, we should have bought it then.
Trenching tool.
I don't know why. It's what they wrote on the thing.
that?
Darvin put her out of her misery because Hazel's not going to shut up otherwise.
It was we got it in Agraf. It was
Naturally.
yeah, and it's been very. I've had it for a while. I just haven't had an excuse to use it yet. So this will be interesting. But yes, I'm glad that we split the way we did because thieves' tools, and points up thieves' tools. So
To be fair, Alice only has the effort gadget because you have her thieves' tools.
oh yeah, that's right. So thieves' tools, and oh wait, well she's got the thing. She's got one too. So because I still have her thieves' tool, which I will keep safe and protect with. Yeah. He's like, oh, these are actually. Oh, that's right. I have to keep these safe. I will use them, but I have to keep them safe. Anyway.
You're muttering to yourself again.
Sorry. Yes, I do that. Anyway.
So okay.
So yeah, Barnabas, you go first. Ava, because I know you can shoot around me.
Except Ava's the one with the light.
Well, Drift Globe.
Yeah, that's true. So Drift Globe can be wherever.
Yeah. So.
All right.
So let's see.
Yes,
Who are we going to deal with first? 1 through 2 is going to be the human and human Minotaur group. Group 2 is going to be human tiefling half elf group, and 5 and 6 is going to be the really mixed species group.
The bag of tricks, as it were.
Something very much like that. It's just, Dragonborn, Azamar, Wood Elf, and currently Winged Moose.
Winged Dire Moose.
Oh, hey, good. I rolled a 5. That would be us.
Yes.
So, get up to, go up a few floors, and I'll say it's kind of looking into the bits. You see what might be more rooms, and you see some that's a little tighter in terms of where the walls are. So these are smaller rooms than you'd expect for a bedroom. To be fair, I don't think either Faraday or Rylan have any real experience of an office. Not to that kind of degree. I keep having to remember that, well, Antheus has been with us this whole time. Faraday has not. It's like, this might be a good place to start. This looks like where paperwork people do the thing. They cram themselves into surprisingly small rooms. This is where all the paper is, I would bet. It's easier to show you, and then just sort of, let's glide into a spot. And because there really is not that much room on the floor, and Legolas just decides, fuck it, and with the antlers, basically tears down door and wall, and just crunch. So he's got a place to land.
Like strong.
Yes.
Yes.
And you're looking into a fairly tight corridor, as it happens. Legolas is not going to be overly happy here, and at least the ceilings are high. It's just narrow corridors.
And people willingly crammed themselves in here.
I wouldn't say willingly. You remember when we were having that conversation about why I had sex for money?
It's one of those situations.
That's the thing. You guys like forage, hunt, and trade, which is great, but more advanced economies have this whole thing where people do things for other people, and those people give them money that they can give for goods and services elsewhere. It's complicated and kind of annoying, but at the very least it means that if you can't hunt, you can't forage, you at least can have food and a roof. It's just they have to have a lot of these people, so they have to have them in very small spaces. So, Legs, you're gonna stay in the corridor. And we're gonna look in these rooms. And, I mean, stay with us, but I don't think you'll fit in most of those rooms, judging by what you did to the wall. Legolas does not look pleased by, office space. Yeah, I know, but you're better off here, okay? Left or right, guys? I will be led by you. Sort of. I mean, I'm probably going to have to go first, just on the basis of, person who can't see all that well probably needs to go in the middle. You can pick up the ambient wing glow, and if we need to be fighting, I'll cast light on something. What do you want me to cast light on if we end up in a situation where you need to be able to see? I mean, your pendant thing would probably work.
It should work well enough, yeah.
Okay, left, right?
Why not left?
And left it'll be. Who's gonna go reach for a coin, but that works.
Oh, if somebody has an idea and we don't have to flip a coin, we probably lose somewhere in the mess. And I mean, I know we're doing fairly well, but you know, money has been with us and could probably be used to scry on us, and I really don't want to leave it in enemy territory.
Understandable.
Let's go. Okay. I'm gonna have a quick look at these doors, and I don't think they're trapped. Mostly because, given the impact, any trap would have been sprung just by the rattling. But best to check. Just looking. No, these walls are too damaged to support traps anymore. I'll revisit if we find anything more sturdy, but damn, Varydel hit like a truck. I mean, I knew that anyway, but doesn't it just make you so glad to still be standing?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
It absolutely does.
Right, let's open doors and see what we find. Yeah, and the ones facing out for another couple of, probably another 80 feet or so, you're just opening doors and actually letting more ambient light in, because that's where the building was sheared away. Doors on the opposite side, however, sort of opening onto... I mean, they look like an earthquake hit, but beyond that, things are still pretty intact. I mean, not the furniture bits, but the books, the paper, and desks have kind of hit walls, and there's not a... And the chairs were largely fairly delicate, so most of those are firewood at this point. But... And a lot of shelves have collapsed, but that just means you open doors, pushing aside paper, floors littered with it. Here's a question. Is any of this relevant?
I'd say the majority of it probably isn't.
The thing is, these are the information gatherers. Probably worth taking at least a quick overview of what's in each room. I don't know how they divvied up what they were gathering, but there's bound to be a pattern per room.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know unless we look.
Yeah.
If it starts
Very
getting...
true.
I mean, I'm not suggesting browse through every bit of paper, but...
Well, let's see what we can find.
let's let... yes, at which point Alice is just gonna cast the... Actually, no, she's gonna save the light, but she does light up her halo so that Farida has some ambient light. It's not much, but if she stands close, which is why you will get investigation with advantage because Alice is helping. I mean, Rylan, unfortunately, paper is not really his thing. It's like, currently he's looking at this and going, how the hell many trees died for this? And the answer being, a lot.
Too many. The
Probably.
answer is too
Yes.
many.
So I got an 18.
Yeah, the first room you come to seems to have actually a fair bit of information about the goings-on in Goldendale. They were made aware that that they don't seem to be aware from what little you've looked at that the Baron is actually the king of Baronsvere in hiding, but they are aware that the Seneschal, the once Corrivel, is no more, and they're very much aware of the sheer number of retired but still capable mercenaries living in the place. They do also know that there is two of them live on a farm with an awful lot of kids. There are interesting little dossiers on all of them. Now, most of these, from what you can tell as you're digging through, they seem to think this is cute. Farida is not on them, because her coming to Hearthhome came after Varydel's attack on Gray's Inn. But they very much know about Skylar. There's a funny little note about, so somebody's actually coming up worshipping Bahamut. Really, that's adorable kind of thing. But they seem pretty well informed about Goldendale from what you can tell on a first pass. Whoever had this office clearly just thought the entire thing was adorable when they were writing their reports. That's the general feel of the language. I'll keep going after, but just quickly, does Varydel want to take any of that paperwork with her?
Very much so, yeah.
Okay. And Alice is going like, yeah, okay. I'm gonna help grab what we can, but is there like a how badly has the central reporting book been like scattered hell for breakfast? Unfortunately, fairly.
Very, very much.
Well, it's a good thing I'm fairly strong and have a bag of holding. Just scoop, dump, scoop, dump, scoop, dump. Okay, we haven't got everything, but we've probably got the basics. And no, I think that's about all we can really get. Next off is over. Star Coast. There was a terrible lot of information about Star Coast. Like, the fog thing freaked a whole lot of people out.
Yeah.
But they lost a few good scouts trying to investigate the situation. There's some further there's a couple of really weird reports that apparently came from the nearest Musquoy settlement to Star Coast, the Barony of Ships, that basically outlined a couple of clerics, a monk traveling from Egref, and a hunter with a sea lion that sounds remarkably like the aquatic equivalent of Legolas, complaining about the fact that things actually got out briefly. Apparently, before some ring of petunias started floating on the water, they really didn't know exactly what was going on, but basically a lot of stuff on the Barony of Ships got wrecked, and some people were very much not impressed, and there was a brief evacuation. It was a thing. Something about something with an awful lot of tentacles, which electrified the water if you shot lightning at it. But again, since you guys rekindled the heart of Star Coast after,
Yeah.
there's nothing much beyond that. They do say that some scouts got in after the Ring of Petunias went, and the fog kind of died down a little, and most of them were just like, okay, this place is dead, bye. Not really doing the job they were sent to do. A couple of bits of information they got from Francine out on the border, but you knew all of this, except for the thing about the Musquoy settlement. Because you listened to the stories. Do we need anything from here?
Don't think so.
I kind of want to talk to these Musquoy. That is a story I need to dance at one point. So I just flings it over her shoulder, moves on to the next room. Moving on, Cedar Grove. Again, because the attack on the attack on Gray's Inn happened a while ago.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff isn't really. I think that's from Noms. Static. We're getting static from you. Yeah. Yours is the one with lighting up. And it stopped now, but...
That's weird.
Technology be like that sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But what you did get was... they lost scouts too. They had apparently talked to some of the wood elves in the Elven Wild and found out that there was something poisonous out there. And... they generally got back delirious people that were too far gone poison to save. If they went, outside of the Wood Elf settlement places.
Yeah.
But apparently that's sort of verging into Elvenwild. There's a fair bit of data on the Vanadar family, and it being pretty much completely destroyed. In fact, the one bit of paper you have said it was, the entire family was dead. But you look, and there seems to be an addendum that some of their sources from Equitas said that somebody matching their description, the description of one Avelaine Vanadar, actually snuck onto a ship. Not in Star Coast itself, but one of the smaller, more clandestine sea coast villages more in the Gray's Inn area to get to Equitas. So they made the leap to Avelaine Vanadar was still alive. There's not a lot of paperwork on that. There should be. In fact, the one you're looking at sort of cuts off mid-sentence. So there's probably a whole lot more report of what she'd been doing up until the attack on Gray's Inn, but somebody removed it. Oh shit!
Yeah, we've got someone with information on.
Well, they had to know.
Yeah.
I mean, given some of the crap we've been dealing with.
Yeah, it's an issue that we don't know specifically what they know because it's gone.
She might, but what it sounds like is they know what she was doing up until she met up with us.
Yeah.
And maybe after. Oh, there's probably a fair bit of data on us in there.
Probably.
Definitely, let's say.
Yeah, and moving on, and we'll stop there after I give the brief overview, because I have a feeling people are going to probably want to collect people in to look through this next office. That's probably where they're going to stop, because they'll want to look in a bit more detail. This one's apparently active mercenary/adventuring groups. This is the only place that was actually still locked. It was kind of past the bit that was trashed. So Alice has had to examine that for, thankfully, no traps, but a fairly significant lock that took a bit of wiggling, but she got it done. And yeah, inside is active adventurer/mercenary groups. There's been a bit more. This one hasn't been hit as hard by the vibrations. This one's further built directly into the mountain. Actually, do y'all want to make me a perception check? Yeah, no, Alice is too busy digging up relevant bits for... Yeah, there's... As, Farida and Rylan are helping gather some of the bits and pieces that fell onto the floor, they're more intact here, but possibly not entirely, because when... Rylan first, but Farida, you guys were taking closer to the back wall. You see, behind a shelf, the wall more into the cliff itself, there's a crack. You probably need Alice's help to move the shelf, because this was sturdy enough not to fall, even when it got hit. But that crack goes behind that shelf. Guys?
There's a pass. I think there's something behind this shelf.
And grab, drag. Obviously, I mean barbarian. Yeah, there's a hole. I mean, not a very big hole. It's about 2 feet by about 3 feet, but somebody small enough could get through. But what Alice has is there is a lot of shit about... I mean, some of the stuff probably cross-references with Goldendale Bunch down the corridor. But there's a lot of information in here about the quick flight diminutives in Goldendale and us.
Yeah.
An awful lot about us.
Oh, fuck.
Well, let's tidy up as much as we can, because I'm not sending any of us into that hole without more backup.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can clairvoyant it, but I'd still rather...
Be safe about things.
Well, yeah, I mean, Reed kill me. Then again, I'd die, she'd revive me, and then she'd kill me and potentially revive me again. I don't know what her spell energy's like for that kind of shit. Or she'd ask Hazel! And on that note, we are actually a little bit past break time, so we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll deal briefly with what you guys found, and then the rest of this. And we're back in the inn at Gray's Inn, and these guys headed Remy's group left, Darvin's group right, and... Remy, odds or evens?
Evens.
Yeah. So, as Remy, Clarity, and Hazel are heading by with no need for any kind of light source at all, because you're getting enough ambient light for it to be not too much. You pass through various, you pass through the corridor. The walls to your right are a little sturdier. The doors are not trapped, and only about half of them, are locked. Are you going to open the locked ones? I'm not going to make you roll for those ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peeking.
Well, the locked, I'm asking Clarity because she's the one that can pick them.
Yeah. I'll pick them.
In the first one that you open, you'll find that the ceiling did not fare quite as well as the walls, and there's a fairly frozen, rather crushed body in a pile of what probably used to be like bed and a couple of end tables.
Yeah.
These are obviously rooms where people were staying, and the locked ones you find after a few more. The reason they're locked is because they were occupied. Emphasis on the were. Like, significantly were. There does not seem to be anything that is about to attack you. There's no big pile of bodies that want to hug you to death. Everything in there is probably too crushed to come back as anything particularly deadly.
Small prayers to Taylor.
And too frozen to ooze out and try to become gibbering moutherite. Not everybody was outside when everything hit. But eventually, carrying on along that kind of area, past areas that are a bit more sturdy, because they are further into the rock, you do find a small-ish staircase. It's carved out of stone, but a lot of that stone's been damaged. But, there's up and there's down.
Hey, Remy, up or down?
Up.
I thought you guys were looking for down, and that's why you were... Clarity can...
Yeah, Alice's and her group is up already. Shouldn't we be going down?
Good point.
Down to the second floor it is.
Okay, you go down a couple of flights down to the second floor, and when you get there, I'd like y'all to make me a dex save, please. I will do that for Hazel.
Oh boy.
Oof.
Oh dear, that didn't
Woo!
sound good.
Natural 20.
Yay.
That's saving throw. What did she get? I'm going to be kind. I'm going to say that the only reason that Remy didn't fall through the floor is because Clarity twitched to try to grab Remy before she fell, realized I have a strength of -1, yeep, and then Hazel kind of chucked the both of them before their momentum carried them through a hole.
Help, 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 help.
Yoink.
Remy makes a very undignified noise.
But yeah, there's
You've
a
gotten very used to having someone with wings to just up, haven't you?
I'm not. The floor is usually reasonably sturdy.
Well, that's the thing. The main reason you nearly fell was not because the floor collapsed from underneath you. It's because as soon as you step down the stairs, because your sight is black and white, it's not great, and you wound up not, because just where the staircase ends on that floor, as you turn into the corridor, a good 5-foot chunk of floor was missing. You can kind of skirt around it, but if you don't know it's there, you don't see it right away. So, Remy went first, nearly taught her. Clarity tried to grab her and would help, and then Hazel yoinked them both back. So probably Remy made a rather undignified noise, sort of landed on the stairwell with a Clarity in her lap.
Excuse me. Get up.
Let's slow down a step, I think.
I mean, next one we spot, I could just try tossing people over it.
Well, the key point is to spot the next one.
I mean, fair.
I'll go ahead and just sort of look for traps or holes or...
Give me a perception check.
Can I help this at all?
A little bit late in the offing to be asking about that.
Nerd. Oh well.
12.
I mean, you're probably going to want to stay to the edges of the corridor is about what you figure out, just on the basis that most of the significant holes are going to be sort of in the middle, because everything to the outward side is crushed under the rubble from the rest of the building. The other side, what by this point is now your left, is potentially sturdy. I mean, there's still walls.
Well,
It's
stay
just
to the side, I guess.
Yeah, stay to the left is about what you've got.
Alright, here's hoping this works.
Well, you keep going in that general direction for a while, checking on doors, and what you find is not so much that they're locked. It's more that they're blocked. The few you can open a little bit, and there was various levels of floor. So in some of those buildings, there was still enough floor for you guys to see, but the stone underneath crunched. So a lot of what you're doing is back into rubble. You go along that corridor for a while, find basically the corridor just kind of ends. Not so much ends as in ends, but ends as in big rubble pile. There's probably nothing beyond that.
At least we know that this entire side of the building essentially got folded into itself.
Now what?
I mean, down... Clarity was here, and she's the intelligent one. She'll remember that the next floor down is going to be the inn proper. You know, the where a lot of the people would have been, and from there, there's down to the basement, the train tunnel, though you've heard that was collapsed deliberately, and some tunnels down to the Underdark. So it depends on if you want to check for those, or...
Do we want to go into the inn proper?
Yeah, we
Could
should
we
have a
get
look
through here?
around. We can find a path. We should check all the corners.
I mean, it'd be back and down the next flight of stairs.
You'd have to double back and hit the stairs, right? Because, this end of the building just kind of stops.
Yeah. Let's head back.
You know where where the non-floor is at this point. Go down the next lot of stairs. You can get the door into the main tap room open. There's not a whole lot you really want to see in there. I mean, again, a lot of it is rubble. What isn't is broken furniture, very broken people.
Another some circle gesture, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. And that would probably be around the point of, Remy getting, okay, we're going to need everybody up here.
We gotta go.
It did not sound like being attacked. That sounded more like we found something distressing.
Oh. Remy says firmly, but not hurriedly.
Yeah. Okay, well, they're making their way up these stairs. We'll move on to you guys. As you're the last, and mostly what you get is you head right for a little while, and for a while you're seeing most of what they saw on their travel down the left-hand path. It's what few doors are locked, contain some rather crunched furniture and equally crunched people, and then you wind up looking at complete collapse of both building and mountain, basically blocking the way from that point.
Well, I don't think we should try to move that in any way, shape, or form.
But Barnabas, again, the intelligent one of the group, if you go back and go up the stairs that these two went down, because Alice went a couple of floors up.
Mm-hmm.
There's that floor that you guys could have a look at.
You know, let's go up the stairs. I think there's a floor, if I remember correctly.
Oh well, yeah, right. Because they went up. Yeah, you're right. There's a floor between that nobody's looked. Well, I don't remember. Were they going down or up?
Barnabas, Remy, Clarity, and Hazel were going down. Alice, Farida, Legolas, and Rylan were going up. But they were going up a couple of floors.
Okay.
Right.
Alice and company going up. Remy and everybody else were going down. But I
the
think they went up too high to see this floor, so might as well give it a look.
Yeah, we should go ahead and give it a check just to cover all the bases.
When you get up there, you guys do not have to make a dexterity save because thankfully not so much in the way of holes. That level, it's clear that the further down you go, the worse the damage is. In this case, what you're seeing when you look off to the side facing the outside world is what probably was some kind of banquet hall kind of thing. And part of the reason you know that is because the next wall is further in on the other side. There are smaller, not invisible, but subtle kinds of doors. The kind of places that, you'd have private reception rooms, corridor to some kind of kitchen set up, some place for the servants to have a 5-minute smoke and a bitch about the nobles they're having to serve. Darvin knows all about this.
Yeah, that's
Ava probably doesn't know so much about that because she was a little less prone to ducking out to see how the other half lives.
Yeah, so he'll flag up the various doorways and whatnot, and just this was a banquet hall. This is where the servants would come through, and right about there is where they'd probably complain about everybody they were trying to serve. I learned some colorful things. They're hanging out in those spots.
Why doesn't it describe
Don't doubt it.
But yeah, that's what this all is.
And to be fair, it's Ava who would think there might be something worth looking at in any, she mostly knows from the small private lounges because that would be where people would cut off for the more important political conversations. The banquet was to be seen, to make the right connections, but those little private lounges were either for assignations or backroom deals.
What might be worth looking is the rooms where people usually went to discuss things of import.
Sure.
That
Sure.
would be probably.
And Darwin will point at a few that.
Yeah, I mean,
are likely
to be
to-
fair,
yeah.
you can probably check them all because it's not like if you open a door and it doesn't look like a plush reception room or what used to be a plush reception room, you just shut it again.
Yep.
I mean, we can just we'll
through
check
all-
those, but we can pretty much just go down the line.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll check them for anything funky, but given the chaos, I doubt anything still armed, if it is. But we'll give it a look.
It actually takes a fair few openings of doors to get anything of particular interest. You have just about visible in the rubble some various bits of clothing that you don't normally see because overdressed, that suggests that somebody was having a very different kind of assignation in that room at the worst possible fucking time. No pun intended.
Ooh, boy. Oh.
Oh, that was a very different kind of.
Yeah, Darvin just looks at the two of them and just goes, timing. Just shaking his head, walking away.
Yeah, the next one is, I mean, it's shaken up a lot, and most of the furniture is not salvageable, but Darvin will note that one of the few things that actually survived in this room is a decanter of what looks, and if he opens it, smells like probably Francine's whiskey.
A blink of recognition and slight flashback, because it's been a minute. But I'm gonna keep that for reasons. I think it's Francine's. If they give me a look like why, I'm like, I think it's Francine's.
Look a little weird and then shove it in your bag, though. Yeah, it's going to ask questions.
Yeah, and I just look at the two of them. I think it's Francine's.
All right.
Barnabas does not. Neither of them understand because they've never had the glory of that is Francine's whiskey.
Well, Barnabas doesn't know. Wait.
No, Barnabas met Francine because he was
You did?
there.
Okay.
He was there for. Remember, he was there for the ritual.
Okay.
I remember this because he was the one that yanked Alice out of the water.
Right.
So,
That's
yeah.
right. My bad. Sorry, Barnabas.
But yeah,
Right.
no, they actually, in that case, I don't think they would have let Barnabas get away with not having the whiskey. So for the two of you, it would be like, oh right, that whiskey, the stuff that is, top, and top shelf contraband in Equitas, where they're not supposed to deal with. And a couple of rooms later, a little break room corridor that's obviously to the kitchens. You open up one room off towards the sturdier end. That's furniture's mostly intact. The sideboard is kind of crushed and things, but there's a leather document case. A map, a leather tube that used to hold a map, and on the table, rather damaged, and you have to clear off a few bits of debris to properly read it. A map that Ava in particular recognizes as the border between Cedar Grove and the Elven Wild, covering a good ways into the Elven Wild, but covering the entirety of Cedar Grove. Somebody seems to have been trying to map something out, but it's impossible to tell what just on the basis of the map alone. There's various circles drawn in various spots that apparently mean a radius of influence or goodness, badness, we don't know, but something.
We'll probably want to take this with us. So, yeah.
If we can.
Yeah, well, there's probably from that. That's probably the tube it was in.
Well, yeah, but it itself is damaged, so I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's ripped in a few places, but
But
yeah.
you can. Is it stuck to the?
no, it's a piece of very battered parchment. And
Yeah,
given
so-
that you guys are focusing on the map bit, it's Barnabas again, the intelligent, who might think, maybe you guys are all focused on the map, but I'm used to looking for the other bits of it, and hey, there's a document wallet here. Might that not have some information that you people... To be fair, with him, he's probably, while they're discussing what they're going to do with the map, he's probably opening it and having a quick flip through.
You're darn right.
He's the
You
beat
be
cop.
police?
Well, these guys are discussing the best way of trying to get the map rolled up to take away that's not going to damage it too much. Barnabas, not really saying anything because he's kind of that way, is looking at... there seems to be reports on odd behavior and the only word that you can really come up with is seemingly unrelated, emphasis on seemingly, misfortunes. One of those circles, and one of the ones that probably caught Ava's attention, is the burning of the Vanadar Manor. And they seem to be hooking this up timeline-wise to a political coup from a section of the barony closer to the Elven Wild by the original baron, well, noble anyway, of Cedar Grove up there was usurped, they're pretty sure, by a conveniently placed nephew who was able to take the domain when the uncle got so tragically sick. And then there's a few other spots that similar kinds of. The only one that was that overt was the burning, and the only reason they know it's overt from these bits of paper is they were trying to get a more solid pinpoint information. They were trying to pinpoint the more than the approximate whereabouts of who they suspected of being Avelaine Vanadar, with side notes being, yes, we know she's apparently ruling Cedar Grove at the moment, but somebody matching her description was seen in the small coastal village of Gray's Inn, in one of the smaller port towns just off Belarus itself, traveling by airship up to Alzor High, where the places she trained, the places she was seen. They're all guesswork from what you're seeing, but they're trying to make a case that the Avelaine Vanadar who is currently ruling Cedar Grove is not Avelaine Vanadar, and that there's something wrong with the other Cedar Grove nobility that have been taking places in a slightly less flamey way in other spots. And they seem to be linking that up to sightings of strange individuals and stranger other bits of. There's no real descriptions that 100% fit, but the scouts from the Elven Wild that they've been able to talk to have suggested that various movement patterns within the Elven Wild were conveniently timed to be adjacent to some of those convenient throne passing. So while these guys are trying to roll up this map without damaging it further, which we'll give it to Ava. Ava, give me a dex check with advantage because Darvin's helping.
Let's check. 14.
Yeah, it's very slow work, and that gives Barnabas some time to read. So when these guys have rolled up the map and stuck it in its tube, they finally look up at Barnabas, who's pretty much reached the last document that he's been looking at. And you guys are like, oh, right, we missed that.
This is,
Find anything useful?
yeah, I'd say so. And I'm actually kind of sad that whoever wrote this is probably dead, because this is some good work. I mean, it's easier. Just he hands it over. Just give it a scan.
To be fair, that's not easier because that took a long time for them to do. You
basically, this is whole laying out that there's something. What a character, Avelaine Vanadar. Just make sure I got the name.
Avelaine Vanadar, yes.
Avelaine Vanadar. This whole thing is putting together a really convincing case that there's some serious bullshit afoot, and something about that the Avelaine Vanadar isn't ruling.
Sorry, can you not do that, Smeagol? You're getting.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Okay. Anyway, it's pretty convincing stuff that the Avelaine Vanadar that's ruling Gray's Inn isn't actually them, and Did I get that wrong?
No,
No,
just wait.
I'm just looking at. I'm just. I
Yeah,
just looked at Ava
that's the
smirk.
thing. It's the express. To be fair,
Evelyn-
he's not stupid. Aveline
Evelyn-
Vanadar is Ava.
It-
And so you look up and see the look on her face, and are like, oh.
And now I'm a moron because I didn't put 2 and 2 together until right this second.
I didn't
So
fucking put it together either, so.
you're not here and be thankful for it.
It's fine, don't worry.
Anyway, so this looks like it's a lot about your bitch of a sister.
So they were trying to prove that the one over there is not me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean,
You might want to flag up that this means they knew everywhere she'd been.
It's got everywhere she'd been in here.
Not
It's
not
real.
she, Ava. They followed Ava's movements.
They found our movements.
No, not her.
Or her.
well, okay. So if they, okay, I think I follow. So they suspected that the Ava that was in Cedar Grove ruling wasn't the real one and tracked
The real
Ava. That's why they suspected, because Ava, they have probably reports that she'd been seen at other places.
Mm-hmm.
So they knew all the places you went. Crap.
That's kind of terrifying.
And if they knew where you're going, I wonder what they knew about the rest of us.
At which point, that's when Barnabas hears, we've got a few things we really need to talk about. If you could come up to the floor we were on.
We just got a sending. We got to go back to the floor that we were originally on. They found something.
No, not originally. So the floor we are on, as in the floor up from you right now.
Gotcha. We got to go up one floor. They found some shit. Something you want us all to discuss it, I think.
Okay.
That's you guys probably meet on the stairs heading up to that level.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Hey, you got it. You got the message too. Okay.
Mind your feet. There's been a few instances of stuff from the floor being not floor.
It seems like it's a little better the higher up you go.
Yeah, we
But yeah, still keep an eye out just in case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The first thing you guys see is Legolas waiting in a corridor.
Hey, boy.
You seem very bored. I'm going to. Do I remember? I remember what he liked out of the miscellaneous, like just whole boxes of Pop-Tarts or what have you.
Basically, he doesn't care all that much.
He'll eat anything, yeah?
I am just literally just going to produce a box of Pop-Tarts, pop it open, and just sort of offer.
You managed to read that it is those nice apple, cinnamon, and brown sugar ones that are particularly favored. That goes nyarmph, and the entire box is gone.
I'm just going to smile at him and just sort of go, enjoy those.
And you get lick.
Whoop.
Good boy, thanks.
Thank you for treating my moose with such respect. We're gonna be a bit of a squish in here, but
There's important things. The squish is worth it.
Yeah. The first thing I will point out to you, and we're probably going to have to go in it at some point, points to the hole in the wall behind a bookshelf. It's about 2 feet high and I'm gonna clairvoyant through that when we're done with the rest of the discussions.
You have to make that hole bigger. Not many of us are going to fit through that.
If we crawl, we will.
Even Barnabas?
To the hole.
It'd be a squish, but I guess we'd have to see. And besides, we don't know if it widens out or what.
That's true.
So yeah, remember this was the barony full of spies?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we found offices. We've got most of the paperwork from the one where somebody was handling all the paperwork on Goldendale. But they know about Twilly and Miranda. They know about most of the kids. Not all the kids. This place was trashed before Varydel joined them. So anyone who was there, anyway, but they do know about Twilly and Miranda. They know about Lyra. They know about Jenna.
Oh boy.
Now, the problem is some of that information is missing.
Shit.
So does that mean enemy hands or potentially third party?
Well, we no idea.
Well, I mean, third
dragon spotting here.
third party probably would have taken all of it. We found a page cut off. It would cut off what, halfway through a sentence,
About that, yeah.
and
Specifically
nothing.
about Ava.
Yeah, we found some
Yeah, we found lots of stuff
documents
down
about.
here as well.
Mm-hmm.
Did any of them start like mid-page? Barnabas, no.
No, none of them did.
So possibly different
It's been looking for
reports.
something very specific, man.
They were trying to figure out what was going on with Star Coast. Apparently, not everything got trapped behind that tulip barrier, the petunia barrier. No, it's okay. It got handled by some Musquoy weirdos in the barony of ships.
Oh,
It got dealt with.
Yeah,
Thank God.
to be fair, Darvin has probably actually met a couple of the he knows about the barony of ships, and he knows that they can generally handle themselves.
yeah, he just wasn't too certain how they would handle some of the stuff that came out of there. So he's like, so hearing that they took care of it, he's like, oh, okay, good.
Yeah, apparently,
Fully wouldn't believe that because
apparently, paired clerics of Talos and the Ocean Lady. One of their hunters with a stellar sea lion who was to them like legs is to me, and monk from Egreth.
yeah, that tracks.
I mean, a really weapons-based monk from Egreth, but a monk from Egreth anyway.
Yeah, that tracks.
So yeah, the stuff on Cedar Grove actually focused a fair bit on the Elven Wild as well, because they were trying to track some of the shit was going on there. Oh, but they do actually also know that they don't know the Baron Langerhans is the rightful king, but they do know that Coravel was the seneschal and that he's now dead. But this room, the room with the hole in the wall, this, well, currently active or adjacent mercenary companies and adventuring bands.
Oh shit.
Well, that answers my question. Right before you, I'm assuming, told Barnabas we needed to come back after we found what we found dealing with Ava and realizing they knew whomever it was that was working on this new bunch about Ava. I piped up with, I wonder what they know about the rest of us. Well,
they don't. Well, that's the thing. They don't. They know we have a silver dragonborn, but they don't know which one. Remember, all of this predates Varydel's hitting this place the first time. So they think Clarity's left permanently. They think we've got a monk, not a sorcerer. They don't know about Barnabas.
They definitely don't know
about
me
you.
by extension.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, wait a minute. Rubbish. No. I mean, they know... look through some of the Cedar Grove Elven Wild stuff. I mean, they kind of know about you, but not...
But not associated with the rest of y'all.
No, they've got a couple of quotes of when you might have seen some bizarre shit moving because you deal with shadows better than anybody else. They're a little perplexed about that, but
Spooky elf, too spooky for them.
no,
Probably.
they thought it was useful. Just weirded out because they can't do that. In that, okay, kind of way. At least this is how this reads. So, yeah, I mean, from what we got from you, Ava, tell me if I got this right. They knew that you. I mean, they knew that you stopped off at. I don't even think this little fishing village down south of here has a name, but that you basically bribed or snuck your way onto a fishing vessel and got dropped off at a similar nameless fishing port in near Belarus, and traveled up from there.
I seem to know that, yes.
So you guys found a thing?
Yeah, we found, and I'm assuming Barnabas still has it. The document wallet.
Yeah.
Yep. It's them tracking Ava.
Among other bits, and there's a map that we have too, and he'll flip the tube. It's a little damaged, so it's, but it had circles.
Joe.
Maybe not here. There's not a lot of place to roll it out, and they seem kind of iffy about it. So
it was. I mean, it's parchment, so it's pretty sturdy, and it was torn in a few places. But with everything else being wrecked, we were trying to be careful.
So those circles were places where shit happened?
Places where I'd been?
No, to go back to what Barnabas was reading, that was places where nobility ruling a section of Cedar Grove were conveniently replaced when misfortune befell them, and those circles corresponded to circles in near places in the Elven Wild where some odd things had been sighted at around the same time. Basically, they were trying to prove that something in the Elven Wild was politically messing with Cedar Grove, is what Barnabas would have come up with out of all that. Ava and Darvin missing that because, their home and, the death of their family. They probably weren't focusing on it too much, but Barnabas would get the... they were running the line of evidence. They were going, this guy getting sick corresponded to an odd sighting over there, and this guy apparently, getting a bad mushroom coincided with someone who didn't quite belong near the border over there, etc. So over to you, Barnabas, because all you've got is Alice going. So the map had circles where shit happened. I'm assuming like Ava's manor burning.
Darvin just gestures over to Barnabas. You read through the documents. We were too busy trying to.
Yeah,
didn't shred.
They were running down the line of evidence really, really, really well, with like all the coincidences and this noble has some sort of misfortune gets conveniently replaced, and this weirdness is happening here in the Elven Wild, and they were following the threads, and it was really, really good, really convincing.
So they were trying to prove that something in the Elven Wild was perhaps responsible for some of the misfortunes?
I think so. That's the gist I got. I could be wrong.
No, I think you're right.
No, that sounds about right.
And I have a feeling...
From what we saw on the map.
I have a feeling I know what might be missing from those documents about
Why does
Ava.
this sound like the pattern of our ancient green?
Well, it probably is, but it's more that might not just be the ancient grain.
No, shit.
It depends on how much that ancient green is connected to the drow. But I have a feeling I know what might be missing and something we might have to look for before we explore that hole. We need to find the office that deals with Black Crown. Because they might have some indication of whether that's connected in any way to this.
So look.
Yes, and if it is, we should know about it.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of stopped here.
So this floor is what the office layer, I guess?
Looks like. And I'm just hoping the one that deals with Black Crown wasn't on the crushed side.
Seconded.
But we didn't check everywhere. We saw this and we're like, we're probably going to have to go down that hole because anything that's been taken from here probably went that way. And honestly, if not, there's one other possibility. And honestly, both could apply. Anything that would have... If somebody's trying to hide a thing, are they going to do it in some place that could collapse on top of it? So we might have to embiggen that hole. And looks out the door. I mean, we have a hole embiggener if we can figure out how thick that wall is. Move. Yes, you might get to charge something.
I mean, do we want to just try and remove the wall?
Not yet.
Certainly not yet.
No.
Not yet. Let's one thing at a time. Let's see if we can find the room. Hopefully, find the room that did with Blackground info.
And I know your dust of oh fuck, the floor is gone, but that doesn't last for very long. And we have to get back. But I mean, if it opens out, one of us is going to need to go in and find out if that wall opens up more. But not yet. Right now,
First we find office, then we start widening the path.
Yeah, finding some way of making wall no longer be a thing.
Right.
Okay, so I mean, you're staying on the same floor, but apart from Legolas, who's going to stay where the floor is relatively sturdy. Thank you very much. All of y'all make me a investigation check because you're opening doors and looking at things.
15.
31.
23.
All right. I'll take a 16 on the dice.
What did you get, Clarity?
A
31.
She just went beyond the impossible.
19.
30 is supposed to be literally impossible.
Rolls,
well.
man.
Yeah.
I rolled a 5.
Well, I mean, the main thing is that the reason Faraday's in second place is because she has worked with Clarity on finding documentation before, so she's just like, I'm going to follow her.
Smart.
And yeah, it's Clarity who finds the room with, I mean, some documentation to do with Black Crown. It does look less collapsed than ransacked. I mean, the main reason you find anything is because you know exactly where you've dropped a bunch of papers on the floor before. You know the places to go looking. to find, because it's always that one you really need right now that just slides under a bookshelf. So you have found a couple of bits of paper that do suggest that this was the room devoted to intelligence from Black Crown. It was one of the smaller offices, so Faraday's kind of having minor problems searching because there's not that much room for someone 6.5 feet tall. But you don't find much. You do find one interesting thing. Fairly recent bit of documentation. That the only reason probably the only reason it wasn't taken away was because it accidentally slid under a bookshelf. Because all the other bits of information are, exports, imports, blah, 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 blah. But the bit that you have is yet more of the kind of chain of evidence that Barnabas would and has just today wept quiet tears of joy over. And it indicates that just before Varydel's attack on Gray's Inn was when they'd figured out that Jai Naran III was A, not the true king of Baronsphere, and B, an ancient black dragon. Given that the date on that, I mean, you weren't there when the place collapsed, but this bunch talked to you enough about it to know that that bit of information could probably got there a couple of days at most before this place got hit. And give me... Let's check and see what would be best to ask for here. We'll give you another investigation check. I don't know how... I mean, and actually, I do know how you could beat the one you made, but...
Yeah.
Not
27.
many. It's enough, but funnily enough, not hugely enough. Because it's a tricky one. Because you've only got one page. But you've flipped through enough books and having to snatch meaning and full sentences from whatever you managed to skim over before somebody caught you. So that last sentence that cuts off midway through seems to indicate that they do know who the actual king of Baronsphere is. But it also seems to indicate that since they didn't use the name straight off, that wasn't in this paperwork. So if it was only in the Goldendale paperwork, they probably don't know yet. Whoever took this stuff. But it also occurs that more than likely, the reason that hit happened when it did had nothing to do with when these guys were there. But it had everything to do with them having got a whiff of some of the Gray's Inn spies finding out more than anyone wanted them to know. And yeah, Alice, who also rolled relatively high, is just... I take it you found the room, and whatever you found is not pleasing to you. Guys? Come here. Clarity, what have we got?
Well, one page, but an important one. So this is fairly recent documentation, within perhaps a few days before Varydel's attack on Gray's Inn. There's a chain of evidence indicating that they had figured out that the king of Baronsville is not the true king and is an ancient black dragon. Now, this last sentence cuts off midway through, but it seems to indicate that they do know that they, the investigators, knew who the actual king of Baronsville is, but this place is ransacked, and people took lots of information, but since they didn't say that the name right away, they might not know who that is, who the true king is.
And to be fair, they probably didn't, because that kind of nearly, you came to almost the end of that sentence, and usually a sentence worded that way says something about see documentation in separate file.
So it might have been something where they reference the file maybe on Goldendale, where that information would be.
Pulls the mix out, and yeah, they knew, and they don't have that documentation. We do.
So they went off trying to find it and didn't ever actually find it.
Maybe they figured as long as they got the important bits, and trashed the place, and everyone who gathered that information. Yeah.
It says a lot about our baronies that the one with the biggest established setup was the one that was full of spies.
Which point, Alisay looks at Barnabas. Okay, I get that your law enforcement relies a lot on this kind of information gathering. So, tell me if I'm completely wrong here. That kind of methodical building up a case is the kind of thing you do when you're about to go in and stomp on an evildoer.
Yes.
You're about to call people who have been known to stomp on evildoers, give them all the information they need, and send them. If there's
law
been,
enforcement could be an indictment and an arrest.
And we just came from a room that was basically talking about us. They were probably right on the verge of asking and giving us this information complete when Varydel hit this place. Timing.
Timing has a funny sense of timing.
At which point Pervin just remembers breathing.
And Barnabas is also laughing at you.
I'm glad that people can find some levity, because now we need to think about the consequences of that later, because we still need to find that thing.
Whatever scuttled off at the paperwork.
Well, and
it's more. To be fair, it's more that device, whatever it is.
Yeah, that.
Because I don't think we're getting that. Even if we got that documentation back, we don't know when it was taken. And given when this place got hit, it's probably in the hands of people we don't want to have it by now. We kind of have to resign ourselves to that, I think. But we need to find that. And that is about the only place you could hide something like that. So let's have a look at that wall and see whether you're a dust of disappearing will work, or if we just need Legolas smash.
I was thinking of using the dust of disappearing on the wall between the hallway and the place that we need to embiggen.
Let's look at the hole and discuss that, because I need to clairvoyant some things.
Right.
Legolas can get through the wall into the office if we're not in the way. And mostly I cut us off here because we're at that time. So when we meet again in 2 weeks' time, I mean, to be fair, this was partially, I mean, all of this was information you needed to have, but it's just as well that it happened on a time when one of us could not be at their character sheet. So in 2 weeks' time, spelunking!
Joy.
Later.
Going down